business, then obviously that would be in the WCW list. So specify, next to their name where they were wasted talent. Some guys would be obvious, like Damian Sandow, WWE. I would put him in my top 10. That guy was money. Top 10 wrestlers never to win the WWE Championship. All-time top 10 best entrances. Top 10 gimmicks that failed that shouldn't have. So Red Rooster's not on there. Top 10 developmental gimmicks that failed at the WWE level. Top 10 world champions. Now, that was sent to us, so I'm going to say WWE world champion because that's kind of vague. Because, you do have independent companies that have world titles that were defended overseas. So I don't think, that counts on that. And I'm going to say, I guess, mainstream. Well, you know what? We'll make it the top 10 mainstream world championship. Okay? So basically anybody who held that big gold belt. So that was the WWE world title, and then it was NWA made it their international championship before it was adopted as the WCW title. So we'll just say basically that big gold belt. Top 10 world champions. Top 10 WWE's Intercontinental Champions. And this always comes up. Any top 10 we ever have, this always comes up. Because in the 80s and the early 90s, the Intercontinental Championship at times was better than the WWE Champions. Because WWE Heavyweight Champions were usually part-time workers. They didn't work every show. Hogan's, the Warriors, they weren't on every show. Guys like Savage, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, they worked that title all the time. Every show those guys were on. So the Intercontinental Championship was that was always the secondary title, but it was like the leapfrog from that title. You leapt, boom, into the main spotlight. Whether you won or not, which was usually the case, no, because Hogan had a chokehold on that championship. Guys like Mr. Perfect, who deserved a lot better than he did after, his streak was broken basically, to the hands of Hogan, and his career was pretty much not the same after that, because now it's all right, he's no longer perfect. He's lost. He can't win the big match anymore. So he wasn't, he wasn't believable anymore. So top 10 Intercontinental Champions. Top 10 WWE tag teams. Doesn't have to be a champion, just top 10 all-time tag teams. We used to love doing this. First couple of years on the show, we used to do fan votes of our of all our top, whatever it was top 10. I think we just had tournaments where we just add as many people into the category as possible. It was really cool. I think we did about, I want to say, more than a dozen of them. They were pretty damn cool. So there's a couple. Now I'll say top 10 reasons. Top 10 reasons why AEW will succeed where others who have tried something similar have failed. So send me your top 10s. Damage365radio@gmail.com, via Facebook on any of our threads for the shows, our website, whatever the case may be. So, looking to see if there's anything on Facebook worth talking about that people have been posting while we're on the show. No. Other than the cold, it's freezing out probably everywhere. Even if you're in a warm climate, it's probably a little colder than usual. And it's quite funny sitting here having a conversation with people that they should have kept their kids home from school today. I almost choked when I heard that. People on my town where I live, we have a couple of Facebook pages, and people asking if the school was open. I was like, I can't believe I'm reading this. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Our town is 3 miles wide. You can't get your kid to school because it's cold? It was the most ridiculous, and the reasoning was just so ridiculous. Oh, it's cold, so they shouldn't have to walk to school. And you mean you shouldn't have to walk to school because you're going to walk your kid to school. So because you don't want to walk your kid to school, your kid's going to stay home because it's cold. Because they don't make coats and hats and scarves and gloves and masks and winter clothes. They don't make any of those. So keep your kid home. Because it's not fucking January where it's supposed to be cold. Let's not act like it's never been single digits before in the history of this fucking planet. I put it on my Facebook. I mean, literally, if you're questioning whether you should send your kid to school or not, then you already failed. Your kid should be at school regardless. Unless it's a life-threatening situation or an absolute threat to the safety of you and your family, your kid should be in school. And being cold is not a danger to your family. There's heat in your school. So last time I checked, students aren't held in class outside. They're holding it in a building with heat. If the heat's broken, the school will be closed. You should have to ask that question. You should not be looking for excuses to keep your kid home. And then you got morons who say, well, you don't have kids, you don't know. I don't have kids, I don't know. It's called common fucking sense. You have kids and you don't know. So what does that say about you as a parent? Our educational system is the drizzling shits compared to every other country on this planet because people are always looking for excuses to make school shorter, make days shorter, make the school year shorter, more snow days. Oh, if it doesn't snow, they should still get days off, make vacations longer. Are you freaking kidding me? Get off your lazy ass and bring your kid to school because it is the same people that send their kids sick to school, get everybody else sick, including the teachers, because they don't want to take a day off from work. Or they can't take a day off from work. But they want their kid to stay home because it's cold. It's January!
What the hell is that?
Next month is February. Tomorrow is February. What are you going to do? You going to leave your kid home again because it's cold again? So let's just skip the entire month of January and February and then push the kids into August because you don't want them to go to school in the cold. And then you'll be complaining it's too hot. Can't send your kid to school. It's too hot. It's not safe to walk outside. Too hot. I just don't get it. I don't understand. I don't get the concept and the level of the lack of intelligence and the lack of common sense used by people who walk around on this earth. I just don't get it. It's one thing to do something stupid and laugh about it or do something stupid because you didn't really think in advance, but it's another thing to go out publicly and post how stupid you are and then defend your stupidity. Like, I literally had to have a conversation with a stupid person today about taxes. About taxes. Shitting on Donald Trump because they got less back on their taxes. Well, the middle class got a break in taxes. Private business owners got a break in taxes. So if you got crapped on, you're not in either one of those categories. Have they cracked down on people writing off ridiculous shit? Yeah. You can only itemize deduction in the amount of $10,000. For most people, that's a quarter of their freaking yearly salary. You shouldn't be writing off more than a quarter of your salary because it's not legit. So because they finally cracked down on it and you can't get away with breaking the law, you're complaining? Really? And it's Donald Trump's fault? It's Donald Trump's fault that you can't lie and cheat on your taxes anymore. He told me he couldn't write off his miles. I said, well, then you're doing something wrong. Because you can write off miles. There's a category, it's broken down, it's called SALT. This is where you can itemize deduct. This is like your miles, your tolls, your work clothes, travel expenses, personal business expenses, stuff like that. But you can only write off the grand total of $10,000. So if you were writing out $30,000 worth of stuff because you made $100,000 the year before, that's nobody else's fault but your own. Because they stopped letting people get away with freaking bloody murder on their taxes, it's his fault. And then he turns around and he says, well, I'm a Trump supporter. But that's bullshit. You're just blaming the President of the United States for the fact that you can't cheat on your taxes no more, but you're a Trump supporter. Can you send any dumb of a statement? So then I post from CNS, was it CN, whatever the fuck that station is, CNBC, thank you. A screenshot of the tax law, the difference between this year and last year. All of a sudden it was, go fuck yourself, you're wrong, etc., etc., etc. So I'm wrong. I'm wrong that I put proof, evidence, facts on the screen for them to read. And the only thing I said at the beginning is like, whoever told you you can't write off miles is lying to you. If you're doing your own taxes, stop doing them because you don't know the new tax laws and you're doing it wrong. If you have somebody that's doing it for you and they're telling you this, you need a new accountant because they're probably taking a huge cut out of your taxes for themselves as commission, and that's why you ain't getting as much money back. And then they came back at me with that stuff. So then when I show them proof, people don't like facts. They confuse facts and opinion. And your opinion, you get less back on your taxes because of Trump. No, you got less back on your taxes because you're not allowed to write off as much bullshit as you used to do in the past. You should be thanking Trump that people with no jobs are getting $8,000 back on taxes. Doesn't that burn anybody else's ass when people literally work at like Burger King and make like $15,000 a year, just enough where they gotta file taxes and they get like $4, $5, $6,000 back? They don't own a home, they don't have a kid, nothing. How the hell is that freaking possible? I haven't done my taxes completely. I've done the basic breakdown of it before I send it to my accountant. I'm waiting on my 1099 forms from the Staten Island Yankees. You know I'm getting a lot less than I did last year, but my business did a lot better than it did the year before. So that comes with the territory. If you want to be successful, there is a price, and it's usually taxes. I own a home. I don't get a tax break on my home because I don't have a mortgage. But I have solar. So there's other things where I supplement one for the other. Where I don't have one, I have something else. So don't sit there and shit on, and that's not even a Trump thing. It's just blabbing out shit that's not even true. People can crap on the president. You can say whatever you want. It's freedom of speech. Do whatever you want. Knock yourself out. It doesn't change things, though. doesn't change the way the world is or viewed by people. People are just cynical.